back in 1933, FDR confiscated gold. If you recall, you read your history books. After all the gold was confiscated, they priced the dollar down against gold by 60% in an attempt to create inflation, to get out of the Depression. In the year 2015, it's not practical to go door to door to confiscate gold or silver. So they used paper futures contracts leveraged at 1,000 to 1 to drive the price down to give J.P. Morgan and other banks around the world the opportunity to buy gold and silver at these ridiculously low, cheap prices until they take total control of these prices. And then in 6 months or so, they'll come out and say, you know what? It's the new world order. We need a new currency grid. We need a new Bretton Woods. We need a new way to trade these currencies around the world. And guess what? They're all going to be based against or valued against gold, except not gold at $1,200 an ounce, gold at $7,000 an ounce.
And is that why all the elites and universities are hoarding billions of dollars of it while using paper naked shorting to drive down the price?
Well, yes, exactly. But more importantly, that's why China and Russia are hoarding gold. Russia has just bought another 1 million ounces last month. China will come out, and my understanding is China this year will finally disclose for the first time in 5, 6, 7 years their true gold position. The last official count we have is that China has 1,050 tons of gold. The actual number that's coming to be revealed later this year when all this goes down is that China will own more than America's position of 8,000 tons. Therefore, China will have the de facto strongest position in the new currency grid to be introduced, which makes sense because they have the world's biggest economy and they have the world's biggest military, and Apple Computer sells apples in China, and China's kind of taken over.
Larry Summers wrote last month that it was basically the day America blinked and that it was basically the end of our hegemon, that we went along with the Chinese investment bank that's got all these countries joining it, but a lot of the same insiders are investing in it. Is that just rhetoric? Because his answer was, if we sell out faster to global governance, then we can compete with the Chinese. What do you think Summers really meant by all that?
Larry Summers is a real charlatan, and he plays both sides of the fence brilliantly, and he's a survivor. But he speaks with forked tongue almost everything. He's a duplicitous king. But what's happening is that China and Russia have started their own bank to compete with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, and they got strategically Britain to sign on. And this really got America upset, but Britain signed on. So now you have the setup for the dollar to lose its place as world reserve currency. Iran and Russia just announced that they're going to start doing deals in the ruble. The fall of the dollar as world reserve currency is a trend that's irreversible. And the only thing keeping the dollar alive today is that America is buying its own sovereign debt, which is something that can't last forever because it's a Ponzi scheme. China, up until 6 months ago, was America's biggest creditor. Now Japan, which is a vassal state of America, is America's biggest creditor. So you think the trends we've been talking about for years are coming to fruition, but underneath all this, some of the things we have been predicting, like negative interest rates and playing casino games for cash, and these things have come true. So I want to reiterate that these predictions we've made are coming true. Remember, conspiracy theory is the term that the cabal uses to discredit investigative journalism.
Well, that was declassified. That in the 60s, the CIA coined the term and directed major news organizations to use it. Then in 1993, the Clinton Library just released this 4 months ago. We had Joseph Farah on. Some of it's so incendiary, Farah hasn't even released it yet. It's so damning and so destructive. But they're working with lawyers right now. But it was how to block the independent media being born, how to buy it off, how to shut it down. They were fearing it then. And they said, we must go back to the CIA plan to call them conspiracy theorists. We must not allow the people to ever have a choice. I mean, those memos are sickening. Have you read those?
No, I haven't seen it. But anytime anyone hears the word conspiracy theory, know that it's code for investigative journalism.
Or questioning known liars.
Yeah, it's just anything that's investigative journalism in American media is referred to as a conspiracy
Let me
theory.
ask you a question. Why do you think AP reporters and others were targeted and attacked by police in Baltimore, but then they were ordered to stand down with the looters? What is the plan there?
Well, AP, what was exactly the story? Repeat that again?
Well, I mean, they just attack our reporters, other reporters all over. It's just that they won't stop the looters, but they attack reporters.
Well, that's a trend that's been happening for a while now. They are making filming police a criminal offense. They don't want any record of any of the transgressions. The violence in the police departments across the country are escalating quite rapidly, and as you know, they've become militarized in the U.S., so journalism is there to record this, and so they got to get rid of that. They don't want any record of the police acting as a military force for the kleptocrats, do they?
Yeah, but I mean, there are some problems with the police, Max, but from the numbers I've seen, police violence is flat. Doesn't mean it's not horrible. But why will they not stop the looters, but they'll attack reporters, is what I'm saying. I mean, have you seen the clip of the mayor saying we let them riot?
I'm learning all that from your show today, because I don't really follow too closely some of the stuff in the U.S.
No, I know you're mainly following geopolitical. I want to ask you where the global economy is going in your view when we come back, and I want to get to Twitter questions and talk to Scott, Adam, and John and others. Then we're going to ask Max if he wants to stay 20 minutes in the next hour to take your calls.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Communist China freely allows the sale of bulletproof armor plates, while our U.S. politicians argue from banning Americans from owning body armor.
Does that sound right to you?
Arm your American body at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Infidel Body Armor just won't quit.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit GoBerkey.com.
Why use dial-up when you can use broadband? Why travel with this when you can use this? And why would anyone use colloidal or ionic silver when you can use supernatural silver? Supernatural silver is state-of-the-art, and it's been clinically proven to be several hundred times more effective than those other silvers. It's powerful enough to protect you and your family from the threat of deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. But it's so safe that it can be used internally or topically. And you'll never again deal with the nasty side effects of harsh drugs or antibiotics. Hundreds of scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions have all shown supernatural silver is a powerful weapon in the fight against invading pathogens. Supernatural silver is a must-have for your arsenal. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
I want more candy. I want more video games. Mine.
And it's that type of behavior that spurred me to do the research to develop a true nutraceutical formula that was designed to smooth out and help children focus. All of our children are hit with modern mind control. Television, music, fast food, GMOs, sugars, you name it. Young humans have not yet developed their nervous system and are being hammered daily by globalist concoctions. It's no wonder they can't focus and calm down and then are put on dangerous psychotropic drugs. Working with my team, we set out to find the best formula with the highest quality ingredients that children would actually like and take. We worked with the leading manufacturer and nutritional supplements that are safe for children to bring you the most affordable and powerful calming formula out there. Introducing Child Ease with herbs and calming extracts like chamomile and lemon balm and essential nutrients that taste great. Obtain your Child Ease today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's Child Ease exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. I'm Alex Jones. We're here weekdays, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. Back weeknights, 7 o'clock Central, InfoWars Nightly News. Does InfoWars have a corner on the truth? No. Does RT? No. Does ABC News? No. There are some good reporters at CBS News. They get fired when they tell the truth. But big global institutions themselves have a very clear agenda for planetary domination that's taking place and individual freedom is not in the equation. It's being targeted. Max Keiser's agreed to stay with us to take calls and take Twitter questions 20 minutes into the next hour. There's a very powerful article at Zero Hedge today that we've posted at Infowars.com. The Baltimore riots, the stunning comments by Orioles owner's son, who is the vice president. I want to read these later after Max has left us, but it really breaks it all down. If you just joined us, again, Max Keiser is our guest. MaxKeiser.com is his site. You can follow him by linking through on his Twitter there as well. Max, I want to go ahead and go to Scott, Adam, Dan, John, and others as we get ready to end this hour, at least get one call in. But we live in this fantasy land where every economic indicator shows the world's going into depression, but they tell us it's a boom town. But then a month ago, all the economic numbers came out and said we're in trouble. But then they had new numbers that came out that said everything's great. What is the real economic status of the planet, and how fast are we drifting into depression?
Well, the way that the economy is measured from the people who say it's doing great, they look at the price of stocks and they look at the price of houses. And these things are trading up, and they're at record highs. Why is that? It's because the central banks around the world, in an attempt to stimulate growth starting 6 or 7 years ago, embarked on a radical program of 0% interest rates to try to create some inflation. And by inflation, we're talking about some wage inflation, to get people's wages so that they were making more than the price of groceries and petrol, et cetera. But what's happened over these 6 or 7 years is that the people whose wages were hopefully going to start to go up, they never went up. In fact, wages have been going down. But all that money that they printed to try to get that to happen went somewhere. Where did it go? It went into the pockets of the very, very top, who used it to buy stocks and property. And so the failure of mainstream media is to look at both sides of the coin, because typically if you watch certainly financial media like CNBC, they'll just all day long they'll say stocks are record high. That's great. And if you haven't doubled your net worth in the last 6 months, like the top 1,000 richest people in the UK did in the last 6 years, then it's because you're not working hard enough. It's because you're a loser. But that's not true. In fact, the reality is that the central banks have re-engineered the global economy in such a way where the money that they print never goes into increasing wages, because they don't need people. Fundamentally, this is the shift that's happened in the last 20, 25 years, is that the idea of paying down debt in a country like America from the tax revenue from workers making money and making more money and increased wages has become obsolete. The wealth is no longer generated by people who own productive companies.
It's generated through counterfeit derivatives, fraud, and other subsets. And now the elite believe they're going to have robots to service them. So why are humans even needed? They are truly delusional, even though the London Guardian had to report on something we talked about a decade ago, how they're building command bases and armored redoubts in New Zealand. So the elite, like you called them, suicide bankers, are destroying the world so they can sit on the ash heap. We're going to go to break with Max Keiser and come back and go right to Scott, Adam, Dan, John, and others. We're talking to first-time callers with specific questions for Max Keiser. Scott, then John, then Adam, then Dan, and others. I'm Alex Jones. The system does not like you hearing this radio show for a good reason. Please spread the word.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.